Welcome to Hood Politics. In this episode, I will be discussing takeovers, LA's deadly car culture. The facts of the case are as follows. LA has always loved car culture, from Sunday nights on Crenshaw Boulevard, to cruising down Whittier Boulevard, to street racing down Florence Avenue. There has always been a place for people to gather and enjoy the culture. But in more recent years, another genre has become popular, the takeover.
A dangerous street takeover in South LA last night. A large crowd watched as several cars drifted, did donuts and lit fireworks in the middle of intersections.
New this morning, hundreds of people and street racers take over a Compton intersection. This was at Wilmington and Caldwell at around 2 this morning. It reportedly took sheriff's deputies more than half an hour to respond.
More street takeovers hit South LA streets overnight. This scene at midnight near Century and Figueroa. Several people blocked the intersection while drivers did donuts, and as you can see there, passengers even hanging out of the window. Not too safe. The group then moved to the corner of Hooper and Gage to continue their
Takeovers occurred when a large group of people shut down an intersection and used the area for burnouts, donuts, and street races. The events are coordinated through social media and draw anywhere from dozens to thousands of attendees.
Oh, through social media. I was wondering, I'm like, how they coordinating this shit? Ain't nobody had to go to work too, I guess. Yeah.
Takeovers exploded in popularity during the pandemic. The empty streets, in addition to people wanting to get out of the house and have some fun, created the perfect atmosphere for takeovers to thrive. Initially, the events would go off without a hitch. People would show up, hang out, and disperse after a few hours or whenever law enforcement arrived. But as time went on, takeovers became more and more dangerous. There have been multiple brawls, hit and runs, carjackings, robberies, and shootings at the takeovers, and police said anytime they broke one up, they would recover multiple guns, drugs, and stolen cars. Law enforcement has taken numerous measures to stop them, such as placing speed bumps in intersections, performing mass arrests, towing vehicles, and even using videos of the takeovers to track down participants. But that did little to stop the events, and in the summer of 2020, people got to witness how dangerous takeovers could be.
You over here, tell me that type of car? I'm from the Oakland area, nigga. I'm not lying. You type of car, that's the real shit. You down to do some shit like that? You down to do?
On Saturday, July 25th, 2020, there was a large takeover at the intersection of Hollywood Boulevard and Highland Avenue in Hollywood. Hundreds of people flooded the area to watch the show. As cars did donuts in the intersection, a 33-year-old man named Ramon Monreal started tapping them with his hand as they spun by. A man named Daniel approached Ramon and told him to stop tapping the cars because it was dangerous to be that close. Ramon is from the Bay Area, which is credited as the birthplace of takeovers, but there, they call them sideshows. He explained that in the Bay Area, tapping cars during sideshows is a sign of respect. The conversation grew heated, and Ramon lifted his shirt and showed a gun in his waistband. He then grabbed it and put a bullet in the chamber. Daniel's friend, Edward, was standing nearby and punched Ramon in the face. He fell to the ground and another person kicked him. They then attempted to grab the gun, but Ramon opened fire. The scene was in chaos as people ran and ducked for cover. Ramon then ran to his car.
Sam, he traveled hella far to go to a sideshow. They still be having them out here, but they more so like the takeovers. Yeah, they doing takeovers everywhere in Cali now, bruh. Ain't no more sideshow, no player shit. It's all type of like, you know.
And fled the scene. 911 was called, and police and paramedics made their way to the intersection. They found a 17-year-old young woman named Alejandra Estrada lying on the sidewalk. She had been hit in the head and was pronounced dead at the scene. She was an innocent bystander and was just enjoying the show when she was hit by a stray bullet. Edward was driven to the hospital by friends. He had been hit twice, once in his groin area and once in the thigh, but luckily he survived. Detectives arrived at the scene and began their investigation. While most attendees fled before they arrived, a few stayed behind to give their accounts of the incident and descriptions of the shooter. Investigators then learned that a video of the shooting had made its way to social media. It gave them a full scope of the events leading to the shooting and a shot of the suspect. A few hours later, at around 3:45 a.m., sheriff's deputies responded to a call in the city of Carson. As they arrived at the intersection of 223rd and Figueroa Street, they encountered Ramon. The call was unrelated to the shooting, but Ramon was taken into custody. Once sheriffs learned of the shooting, they contacted homicide detectives and told them they had the suspect in custody. Ramon was then handed over to detectives and formally charged with murder for the death of Alejandra Estrada and the attempted murder of Edward, as well as great bodily harm and gun enhancement charges. His bail was set at $5 million. He later pled not guilty. During the trial, the prosecutor called Ramon confrontational and reckless. She said he was the aggressor during the incident and it's completely his fault that Alejandra was killed. Ramon took the stand and testified that the shooting was committed in self-defense. He said at the time of the shooting, he and his fiancée were visiting California from Texas and went to Hollywood.
Damn, so that's crazy, like, you know, but he drew down before he even got took. So they stole on him, then he started busting, but he already drew down and put one in their head type shit. When he could have de-escalated the situation the whole time, like, bro, it's good, my bad. I didn't know that was your shit. He took the time when he had bump on him to flex on a nigga, bro, and end up getting somebody killed, bro. Rest in peace to her, condolences to her family, bro.
To have dinner. He parked his car near the intersection of Hollywood and Highland and took his gun because he always carries it with him. Ramon's carrying license was valid in Texas and Florida, but not in California. Ramon said as he and his fiancée walked the street, they stumbled across the TakeOver, and he tapped the cars as they spun by because they were getting too close to the curb. A few moments later, Daniel approached him and said, "Don't do that, it's not cool." He asked Daniel who he was, and Daniel replied that he was in charge. Edward then approached him and said, "You keep doing that, we'll fuck you up." Ramon said he apologized and told him that he meant no disrespect, but Daniel kept antagonizing him and threatened to kill him. So he pulled his gun from a concealed holster, pointed it towards the ground, and racked it. Ramon testified that he had served in the Coast Guard and was trained to de-escalate and take control of a situation by cocking a gun. He said the gun did get Daniel's attention and he began holstering it when someone hit him, causing him to black out for a few seconds, and when he came to, he was on the ground getting punched and kicked. He said someone reached for his gun, and according to his Coast Guard training, when someone tries to take your weapon, it's considered a gun grab and you're authorized to shoot. Ramon said he believed he fired his gun into the air, and afterwards, he fled the scene to get away from the guys that were attacking him. The prosecutor said Ramon's version of events made no sense and were just a poor attempt of escaping accountability. The video of the incident showed that he was the aggressor and reached for his gun, not because he was threatened, but because he was angry and felt disrespected. And even while holding the gun, he continued antagonizing Daniel, which is contrary to his story of pulling his gun to calm things. Ultimately, Ramon was found guilty of murder for the death of Alejandra Estrada and the attempted murder of Edward, as well as great bodily harm and gun enhancement charges. Ramon Monreal was sentenced to 32 years to life in prison.
Just washed him up, bro. Yeah, you shouldn't have definitely pulled your hamstring. You know what they say, bro. You gonna pull it, use it. So if you had no intentions on using it, you was using it as a de-escalation tool. Yeah, that wasn't a good one, bro. Niggas see that and they like, hold on. Oh, Doug too, though, bro, who took off, he kind of set these chain of events off in the front. But you know, nigga pull out Blick. He trying to look out for the homie, knock you out real quick, get Blick out your possession. You kept Blick in your possession and start blinking on some panic type shit. Man, got an L. Yeah.
Many believe that Alejandra's murder will put an end to the takeovers, or at least slow them down, but they continue to get bigger and more destructive, with law enforcement calling them riots on wheels. Large crowds travel from intersection to intersection throughout the night while destroying property and looting businesses.
It's an unbelievable sight as a flash mob bursts into a 7-Eleven and start looting the store. One 7-Eleven clerk watches helplessly as the unruly mob pile into the store. Without a worry in the world, the brazen looters grab everything in sight. Cookies, candy, chips, just about every item of merchandise. LAPD says about 100 young people joined in the 1 a.m. chaos. They had been taking part in what's being called an illegal street takeover, where motorists had flooded the intersection to block off traffic. But this lawless bunch took it further and overtook the store.
A mob swarms the Arco gas station on Alondra and Central in Compton after a vandal breaks open a door. Then it's a free-for-all. You see some looters with their faces covered, others not even bothering concealing their identity as they ransack the store. They grab everything from booze to condoms, what some would consider essential items. This happened around 2:30 Sunday morning. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says thousands of dollars worth of merchandise was stolen. Deputies say the mob was part of a crowd that had gathered for a street takeover.
It was just before 4 a.m. as people were doing donuts in the intersection. Dozens of others decided to break into the AutoZone, smashing the glass on the door, and then with their bare hands ripping open a metal fence on the inside, smashing display cases, looting, vandalizing, getting away with anything they could carry. Many of the stolen items dropped as they ran away.
Security video showing a white Kia repeatedly slamming into the door of Reuben's Bakery in Compton. From inside, more security video, a mob of people looting the popular location. Investigators saying this all began with a street takeover outside the business.
Damn, so they went in AutoZone too, took hella timing belts and shit like that. Yeah, they was this shit crazy.
Reuben's Bakery is a family-owned business serving Compton for 48 years.
No tienen control.
They're out of control, says one customer, referring to the street takeovers in Compton. The intersection in front of the bakery shows leftover traces of the fire. The takeover crowd began before breaking into the bakery.
Nowhere was safe from the takeovers. Streets, parking lots, industrial areas, and freeways were all fair game. Even LA's newly renovated $600 million 6th Street Bridge became a hotspot. With takeovers came police. This led to some gangs banning them from their territory. In one video, a takeover was being held at the intersection of Normandy and Manchester Avenue in 8 Trey Gangster Crip territory. One of the members can be heard telling the crowd to leave, but they didn't move. He then fired a fully automatic gun into the air and cleared the crowd. In another video, a takeover was being held at the intersection of 63rd Street and Crenshaw Boulevard in Rolling 60 Crip territory. A member can be seen yelling at attendees, telling them to shut it down.
60 Crip! Take this shit somewhere else! Rolling 60! I'm asking, I'm telling. Take this shit somewhere else. Please. Take this shit somewhere else, please. Hey, bring that shit in! Take this shit somewhere else! Come on now, right now! Hurry up! Take that shit in somewhere else! I'm gonna make them leave. OG, I'm gonna make them leave right now. I got it. I'm asking, I'm telling you. They all finna come in. They all finna come in. They finna all come in. Y'all had a great time. I love it. Y'all had a great time. OG, you too, bro. Hey, y'all had a great time. All cameras down. All cameras down. All cameras down. Take it somewhere else, please.
Yes, sir. We on that. We on that.
Y'all miss it on my spot.
Yeah, no, we on that.
I made money.
It's all respect, cuz. It's all respect.
Alejandra's murder wasn't the first takeover-related death, and sadly, it wasn't the last. On the night of Saturday, November 13th, 2021, there was a takeover at the intersection of Pine Street and Boulevard.
OG, like, y'all making the spot hot, man. Please clear this shit out. You know what I'm saying? Okay, shit.
Road in Compton. Among the attendees was a 19-year-old man named Javier Menchaca and his friend, 22-year-old Juan Orozco. As the two sat in their SUV watching the event, someone approached them and opened fire multiple times. The crowd scattered and fled the scene. When police arrived, the SUV was the only vehicle still at the scene, and when they approached it, they discovered Javier and Juan's bodies inside. A $50,000 reward was offered for information leading to the killer's arrest, but Javier and Juan's murders remain unsolved. On the night of Sunday, June 12, 2022, there was a takeover at the intersection of Stockwell Street and Wilmington Avenue in Compton. At around 11:40, a man named Trayshawn was driving home. He was traveling around 50 miles per hour and had a green light as he drove through the intersection. Moments later, a red Honda pulled out in front of him, causing a crash. Trayshawn was shaken up. He unbuckled his seatbelt, got out of his car, and saw a large group of people in the street. A man exited the driver's seat of the Honda and fled the scene. The body of an 18-year-old woman named Jennifer Flores was found inside the car, and the body of a 20-year-old woman named Michelle Gonzalez was found lying on the street. She had been hanging out the window of the Honda during the crash and was ejected from the vehicle. City officials and law enforcement said there wasn't a takeover at the time of the crash, but neighbors insist there was and say there's one nearly every weekend at the intersection. On the night of Sunday, August 14th, 2022.
Somebody lost their life, bruh. And the law enforcement only worried about making sure the public know, yeah, this wasn't due to no SideShow or TakeOver. No, this was some random shit. Like, bruh, get on your fucking job. Yeah, but the thing is, right, you know what this is? It remind you that the people really do have the power. When you see some shit like this, even though they using it for the weird shit, but the people got the power in their hands and can really overthrow some shit. And when they want to.
A 15-year-old young man named Joshua Montez was attending a takeover, along with his friends and girlfriend, at the intersection of 135th Street and Avalon Boulevard. Just before midnight, gunfire erupted. Joshua was hit twice. The crowd scattered and fled the scene, including his friends and girlfriend. A nurse who lived nearby and two passersby went to Joshua's aid and applied pressure to his wounds. 911 was called and police and paramedics took over 30 minutes to arrive. He was then transported to the hospital where he underwent emergency surgery. As the night went on and Joshua still hadn't made it home, his grandmother called his phone and a police officer answered. He told her that Joshua had been shot and was in critical condition at the hospital. A few hours later, Joshua Montez was pronounced dead. On Christmas night, 2022, there was a takeover at the intersection of Crenshaw Boulevard and Florence Avenue. There were over 100 people present. Among the attendees was a 24-year-old woman named Eliza Guaka. At around 9 p.m., a Chevy Camaro was doing donuts in the intersection when the driver lost control and crashed into a nearby tow truck that was providing blockage for the event. The Camaro then spun into a crowd of spectators. The driver exited the car and fled the scene. Eliza had been standing nearby during the crash and was hit by the Camaro. She was transported to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. Eliza was a nursing student and loved cars. She fell in love with car culture after seeing The Fast and the Furious and would always go to car meets and other events. Detectives arrived at the scene and began their investigation. They impounded the Camaro and tracked down the tow truck driver and impounded the truck. Surveillance video from a gas station at the intersection showed numerous people limping and being helped to their cars after the crash, but none of them reported the accident or made themselves known to detectives. A few days later, investigators announced a $50,000.
They ain't even check on sus, make sure she was good. That shit crazy, bruh. Yeah, they stole my shit one time and took it to a goddamn takeover. Yeah, they found it, bruh. Destroyed. Oh yeah, they destroyed it too. Scandalous.
$1,000 reward for information leading to the Camaro driver's arrest, and the tips began pouring in. They then received the name of the suspect. He was a 28-year-old man named Dante Chappell Young. Detectives learned that he went on the run after the crash and tracked him through multiple cities in Southern California, then to Arizona, and finally to New Mexico. On January 13th, 2023, a task force arrested Dante just outside of Albuquerque and charged him with Eliza's murder. On the night of February 19th, 2023, a 27-year-old man named Raymond Oliveras and his fiancée Maria threw a get-together at their newly purchased home in Compton. As the night winded down, the guests began leaving. Raymond and Maria walked some of their friends to their car. After doing so, they were walking back across Avalon Boulevard when a car came racing down the street and hit Raymond and Maria at 70 miles per hour. Raymond's legs were pinned under the car and he was dragged down the street. At the same time, another car was driving in the opposite direction and ran over the upper half of his body, splitting him in two. Maria was transported to the hospital where she remained in a coma for weeks and required numerous surgeries on her arm, jaw, and legs. She now lives with chronic pain and PTSD. She stated, "Raymond was a great guy, very hardworking, very loyal, very determined, and I don't have him no more. He's not with me. I go to sleep and I'm like, it's just a dream, it's just a dream, and it's not." Raymond was a civil engineer and Maria is a school teacher. The two had been together since they were 14 years old and planned to get married that December and start a family. Police later arrested the driver, a 21-year-old man named Alan Herrera, and charged him with vehicular manslaughter. He had been arrested over a dozen times, and his mother had just bailed him out of jail 6 weeks prior to the accident. He was fleeing a nearby takeover that had been broken.
Should have gone ahead and let him sit in there would have prevented this shit. It's crazy, bro. It's a trip. Like going to these events, let alone like walking through the sidewalk, right, or walking on the street through the crosswalk is dangerous. Motherfucker don't be. It be just hella reckless shit going on. Let alone going to one of these events nowadays. People don't really care, but it ain't really like. It ain't a sense of community. It's just a sense of chaos and fucking want to, like, have a good time type shit. Like, what? But not really, though. Just, like, some chaotic shit.
By police when he hit the couple. Allen was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Raymond would have celebrated his 28th birthday a few months later on May 21st, but instead, his family hosted a memorial event where they shared memories of him and spoke about the dangers of street racing and takeovers.
This was really a bittersweet event in a lot of ways. Family and friends gathered together to share what they loved most about Raymond on what should have been a celebratory evening.
He is my whole life. Every day there was laughter, smiles, and fun. I miss him so much.
Maria Rivas Cruz should be planning her wedding to her high school sweetheart, Raymond Olivares. Tonight, they should also be celebrating his 28th birthday, but instead, family and friends are remembering his life.
We had so many plans. And he's not here anymore.
On the night of Friday, July 19th, 2024, there was a takeover at the intersection of 54th Street and Western Avenue. Among the attendees was a 15-year-old young man named Sergio Villa and his friend, another 15-year-old. Just after midnight, they were sitting in a car watching the show when 3 armed men approached them and demanded their jewelry, money, and other valuables. The men then ran to a black Honda. As they made their escape, one of the robbers aimed a gun at the teenagers and opened fire multiple times. Both were hit and driven to the hospital, where they were each listed in critical condition. A few hours later, Sergio Villa was pronounced dead. His friend went on to recover. In 2024, a joint task force arrested a 20-year-old man named Eric Quintana. Eric ran an Instagram page called Private Meets and had over 60,000 followers. Investigators believe he used the platform to blast out the locations of 16 takeovers, and at those events, there was violence, smash and grabs, robberies, and vehicle thefts. It's also alleged that he promoted the takeover on Crenshaw and Florence, where Eliza was killed. Eric was charged with 16 counts of conspiracy. Sergeant Arnold Castellanos of the LAPD Street Racing Task Force said this type of prosecution is the first of its kind and a necessary step. He stated, "Street takeovers have evolved into so much more than just doing donuts. Over time, car clubs have formed. These car clubs compete against each other to see who has the better drivers and can bully other drivers out of the pit. This has escalated tensions and has resulted in the car clubs acting like gangs." LA County District Attorney Nathan Hawkman said, "The charges against Eric are just the beginning of a broader effort to
Shit, bruh. Yeah, shout out Hood Politics, man. This was kind of like a sad video a little bit. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. Rest in peace to all the people who lost their life. Condolences to their families. It's crazy. The steps they taking now. Yeah, they taking steps to prosecute the motherfuckers setting up these little car meetups. Yeah, you want to set up a meetup where motherfuckers getting robbed and doing donuts and crash and running motherfuckers over? You responsible. I think it's kind of like scapegoatish though, a little bit. Like, yeah, he threw it. Of course, he is ultimately responsible for everybody meeting in this spot or whatever. But it leaves like them last niggas who robbed the young niggas and shot. Like, they already gave you their shit. What the fuck you shooting at them for? Fuck you shooting for? What you even like, bruh? The little shit you taking, it just be weird. Like you know, it's just some weird shit. The little shit you taking though ain't about to sustain you forever. Not even a month, probably though. You know, go hit a fucking bank. No, I ain't. That's not what I'm really promoting. Go do some real shit though. Like, go fucking go figure something, bruh. Get a fucking job. Matter of fact, go get a job. Get out the streets, bruh. Don't, if you somebody who like to attend these little street takeovers and you value your life, I would say stop. type shit, because it ain't really like a sense of community. Like I say, motherfuckers don't care about nobody no more. They don't care if you just get ran over. Motherfuckers gonna trample over you, get to their cars and go type shit. Yeah, man, this shit crazy, bruh. It ain't good. Y'all let me know what y'all think. We on to the next one. Man.
Say ho, I can't playing with that paper ho. Nigga need that yaker, need it now and not later. Say ho, you can't playing with that paper ho. Nigga need that yaker, need it now and not later ho. Say ho, you can't playing with that paper ho. Nigga need that yaker, need it now and not later ho. Hey, I need that cheese like a grater ho. Don't play me like no sin, cause I never Captain Saber ho. Yeah, but you can fucking be my waiter ho. Long as you get paper ho, cause shit that's what the paper's for. Y'all niggas chasing dough, but what we racing for? But we ain't